Yes.
Can you tell us how old?
I wouldn't have a clue, huh? How old are these? 15?
Around 17, 16.
16, 17. So decent sized trial. Very decent.
Slow growing.
All right, I'll start then. No one else wants to talk. Fine. All right. So nice looking Shimpaku. What I always do when I approach trees, I have to actually, what do you do? What are you going to do now? You're looking at, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to style it? Blah, blah, blah. You probably don't know just yet. But what I want to do is always look at eliminating things that I don't want. Eliminating things that aren't going to be good for the tree. So what I mean by that, first thing I do is always look for 2 branching. I don't want to see 3 in one spot. I don't want to see 3 branches coming out from the one spot. Does that make sense? I always want to see 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and building up on that. If you see 3, what's going to happen ultimately is you're going to get really big swelling there. It's not going to look right, and the tree's going to get disproportionate. So the first thing I do is look for 2 to get to 2, 2, 2, 2 everywhere. I don't think we're going to be able to zoom in close enough, but we'll see how we go, and I'll show you some examples of that. So that's the first thing I do, look for cutting back to 2, take out the middle one, have 2 left. And once you do that, you start to thin out the tree, and you come back with at least the structure for the tree to look at. Once these guys are chopping away, geez guys, come on, no, I'm kidding. So that's what I look for, and that's what I try and do. Also, I like to clean up the underside of branches as well. Anything hanging down, I start to get rid of. Get rid of that stuff, get rid of that stuff. And then what happens is the tree opens up, and then you can start to see what you're looking at, see the structure, and that's when I start to put wire on it. So do a clean up, and then start wiring. So that's my plan for this start. Okay.
Yeah, exactly what Dan said. If you're ever stuck with a tree, just get rid of the things you definitely know you don't want, and then you can make you don't have as much decision fatigue with what's left. I know for a fact that this branch here, it's got a huge crack in it, and it's not going to last. So I'm going to tear that off and hopefully create a big shari down here, and then I'm going to work with what's left after that. So we'll see how that goes.
So, that tree, you got cheaper range, but you got it here, 1 tulip tree. But all the same, the main one that's too small, but the left hand side too big. So on the other one, that leave it too heavy but nearly empty on the vent, that way I need to remove that one, and this one or that one. That way I just keep one, do maybe a little bit semi technique.
Alright, thanks, Hart. Okay, so I've had a quick look at this tree, and what I've seen is, following all the things that the guys have already said, you get rid of the bar branches and you'll go off in 2s and 2s. You also don't keep really large, thick branches that are growing. The lowest branches are always going to be the thickest, and the top branches are going to be the thinnest. But there's some branches in here that are just almost as thick as the trunk, and they've just basically got to go. And you want taper in the tree, so I don't want anything this high, and if anybody knows me, I tend to like trees a little bit smaller than they are bigger. So I'm thinking that my tree, what's in my left hand will go, and I'm going to get a top out of somewhere in that part of those branches here. I'm going to bring up as the new apex. But there's a number of lower branches that are just way too thick. I should be able to cut the right ones off. I'm going to leave long stumps for now. For potential gins, we can tear them back. But basically, my first couple of branches are going to be in here, and I'm actually going to.
Is that the family tree?
most of this tree off. Sorry, hon, I know you've taken a long time to grow these things and grow them well, but
If it's cooler, maybe you need to eat it.
so really my tree is, I'm going to get it on a proper angle. I just chopped this a little bit. My main tree is going to be coming through in this branch somewhere after I wire it up. Then I'll work out my branches throughout. It's going to be very light on for foliage, but we don't really create bonsai overnight. They're the sort of things that you take away, and I would just let this grow for 12 months and let it fill out, and then come back in and do some more work on the branches. But I'm going to be relatively savage on this. I see the guys working with scissors. I've gone straight in with the axe. So this will certainly be a skeletal, and we want it to grow out in the next couple of years. So Dave.
Thanks, Barry. So I've gone to the start to clean out some of the stuff, but what I'm also doing is I'm trying to, how are we going for zooming? Possibly Andrew? I don't know if you can get in there, but there was 3 branches. I don't know, I'll just keep pointing. There's 3 branches here that are coming out of the same spot. I want to keep the 2 big ones, and I'll gin the one in the middle. I'm going to keep it for now. So I've created a gin, deadwood, with that bit. I'm also gone up to the top of the tree, and I saw this very heavy straight branch at the top, or coming out the top. Anything that goes straight up, which is a bit lower down, is useless, but I don't want to cut it off. I'm going to create a gin. Because I think junipers look good with having gin and deadwood on them. That's what they're supposed to do. It gives you a more sense of age. I see Matt's doing some ginning as well. So that's the plan, is create some gins now, to enhance the age of the tree, make it look older. Okay? And it's very easy to gin. So if you've got some key things, some tools, branch cutters, essential for bonsai. No matter what, you need a pair of branch cutters. I use my gin pliers or any pliers to do some deadwood work. So you can see how I strip the bark off this branch. Now what I've done is I ring bark down the bottom. I just use my branch cutters and just do a little cut around the branch. That just separates the cambium from the rest of the tree. The cambium is just the outside layer, not the hardened layer. And then I just come in and crush it with these pliers. So as we go, just crush them. I'm using pliers, but I use my gym pliers because that's what they're for, gym pliers. Makes sense? You crush it enough, work your way from the top down to the bottom. I don't know if I'll keep this, but I'm at least going to try. I'm just going to see if I can keep this and leave it alone to see if it stays and makes a good, image of a tree. So then you just peel it in your hand. Probably not going to be that long, not as long as I've created. Okay, is that long? You can see that hopefully, Andrew. And you just peel with your hands. It just comes right off. But once you crushed it. And there you go. It's pretty easy. I can just cut the top off, make it easier. There's a nice gin in the middle there. Could use it, could not use it. So there we go. All right.
Staying on the topic of gin, I always advise people to leave their gin a little bit long when creating it. You'll find that the weather will wear it back over the years. If you're doing a very raw styling like this, you will have many years until it's a refined tree. And over those years, while you're growing your foliage, you're letting your weather and accidents like carrying your tree into small cars break it back to something that looks good. And a lot of my gins on my trees I've made exceptionally long, and when they harden off over 1 or 2 summers, they eventually snap and get broken down to something that's a little bit more realistic. So you can always make your gin shorter, but you can't grow it any longer. So just be mindful of that next time you start to hack into your tree. Just leave it a little bit long and figure out what to do with it later, or let nature do its thing. For this tree, we're probably going to do some bunjin style. I'm just trying to choose the most appropriate one of these 3 or 4 branches to make the apex out of. And the rest I'll probably gin and make some dramatic looking tree. But at the moment I'm still working out which one's the best one.
So now I just try to bend the top one and the second one to go down like that. So this one low bend and the other side bend, and that way I try to work going for the bend first.
All right, so all I've done is just place the wire on my new trunk. So it's a relatively heavy wire, so the trunk would bend easily and hold in place. Probably a little bit heavy for what I actually needed, but it's certainly going to hold. So my idea is, in our designs for the newer people, just go left, right, back. So left, right, back, and then I'll work my way up again, and left, right, maybe a back, and this will be a branch. These will be finer branches. I'm going to find my apex on the top of the tree here somewhere. I don't want it that tall, but the reason I put the chocks in is because I put this, if I took the chocks out, the trunk is very straight, and all of a sudden it just goes off. It doesn't really look natural. There's no reason why the tree would have naturally just taken off there. So what I want to do is just change the planting angle so it looks like there's movement throughout the tree. So I'll just take it back here. So if I do put this tree on an angle, then I've got movement coming off to the right, comes off to the left, and then I've been able to move the bends of the curves of the trunk. But I've tried to. I haven't actually done that. I need to look at it properly. Where have I done it? I needed that. Sorry, not to the right. So now, if this is around the front, I've got this coming off on an angle, and then it takes off that way, and then left, right, and it's coming back and forward. I just wanted to get some movement starting very low in the tree. So now I'm just going to go out and wire out a couple of these little branches, and then work my way up the tree, and then get the triangle, the natural triangle of the tree happening. I think the top of the tree is going to be just in here, or maybe this little piece here, or I might even come down further. Wherever I can get the branching evenly spaced out in the shortest spot is where I'm going to try to get the top of the tree. So ultimately the tree is only going to be 10 inches high. Dave?
Alright, so one thing I got to mention is I like to try and create the smallest tree that you can possibly create. Always look to try and create the smallest tree possible. I prefer to have small, tight, compact trees, and that's the aim of what I like to do. This is starting to come up really well. You might see, hey, that looks like a bonsai already kind of thing, but I'm looking at, I want to try and bend this heavy branch down and kind of bring it in a bit closer. So almost like a little bit of a cascade, semi-cascade branch. And then I'm going to pull this crown back on top of it as well. So I'm going to create a small kind of semi-cascade looking tree. But I'm going to shrink this down to about here. And we'll see how it looks. So I'm thinking I've got a design in my head. Heavy wire now, and get a nice little semi-cascade going. That's what I think. But try and get the smallest tree possible. So that's my aim. And sometimes you just got very, very long branches, so you can see, sorry Andrew, but you can see some of these long ones now. If that's going to be the front when I wire it all down, There's some really big, heavy ones at the back. With I'll try and show it this way. So I don't know, Andrew, if you can see, but there's no real foliage at all. The foliage is at the tip. So when you have that, either the only way you can resolve that is to twist it and bend it on itself and get it really nice and tight, or create a gin. So I'm going to create a gin. Don't need to twist and bend it into tightness because it's at the back. The back is just to give you depth. You don't need such long branches at the back. You just need a bit to give you depth. So that's another thing with bonsai. You see, if you have a look at the trees, all the back branches are just not that long. They're just enough to give you that depth, and it fulfills the three-dimensional look. So that's why sometimes you'll see the back branches are always the shortest, and the reason why I'm going to have to actually gin this one up as well. I might keep this one. It suits the tree, it suits the look. So we'll see how we go with that. I think that's my next step.
David, can you wire a gin if you need to?
Yes. As soon as you make the gin so it's nice and fresh, you can wire it up and set it in position, and it'll just dry out over time and it'll set in that position. So very good question, Ted. Does that make sense? So I've ginned this. So for example, I've ginned this. If I wanted to, I can bend and twist it, put a wire on it, bend and twist it, and in like a few months' time, it's really dried and dried off. And if I take the wire off, it's just set in place. So if you really wanted to, can be done. I think Matt's going to be almost finished. Holy crap.
I'm going for a little bit of a, windswept style, I guess. Now, these three are pretty cool. I'm all about showing, so I'm like these guys, I'm trying to make the smallest tree possible every single time. So I'm always, although this tree proportionally isn't really good for anything other than some of those more sleek white wasabi styles. So this is sort of like a bunjins, windswept sort of style. So I'm going for, so I'm going to wire these all in the one direction and create some pads and hopefully get some finished result pretty soon.
So now I just my main thing first and now. So I don't need to be different with everyone. I'm not like trimming first. I bend it first and see how to go in. Because some brand, when you trim, like usually on everything on the bottom you need to remove, then you cut something like that. But the one you bending, you can't change in position. So like this, so when I just go up, you see, on the bottom they go on the other side. That way, if you not bending, you can do something that's the way you do. But the way I'm bending, don't have to trimming or ruining everything first. Bending first, then do later. So sometimes like this on the bottom one. So sometimes I want to change it, I bend, they go up like that. They go on the other side. That's a different style. And then when you cut this one, you end it. So when you do something refined, you need to top cut, bottom cut, 2 by 2, 2 by 2, all right. But the bend is not like that. Agree?
Thanks. I had an interesting conversation with a member the other couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about wiring and clip and grow. I don't think clip and grow is wrong. Personally, I wire, and in particular, all these trees can only be designed with by wiring. Obviously, to get these big bends in, you'd never be able to clip and grow and get the shape and everything in. But it's clip and grow is a really good way to be trimming your trees as well. I've got a couple of trees at home that have all been wired out, and now they only need just clipping and trimming back. They don't need further wiring. So I reckon there'd be a good discussion about clipping and growing rather than wiring the trees. But you can see in this instance that you just wouldn't be able to do it just by clipping. But we've got a really good book in the library. It's Bonsai Today, and it's Bonsai Today #1. We've now got 2 copies in the library that I think we're going to withhold. But Ian, are we going to do copies of the?
We've got copies of the wiring article, which is about 16-page article.
Yeah, it's the most comprehensive, best article that I've ever seen on wiring. So I think everybody should know or have a go at wiring. I know sometimes when you're wiring really thick wire, a lot of people don't have the strength in the fingers to do it, but 1 mil or 1.5, 2 and 2.5 mil, you should pretty much be able to, 90% of the people should be able to do it. So it's worth having a go, and those copies are now in the library. Ian's got them up there, so they're well worth borrowing, reading, and practicing. You don't even have to practice on your own trees. Go and trim a tree out of the garden and stick it in a vise and just wire it up. You'll break some branches or you'll do some damage. It just doesn't matter. It's important to give it a crack, because a lot of the best designed trees have been wired initially, and then a lot of them are actually just gone through the clip and grow process to keep them in shape. So clip and grow is okay with me, no problem at all. People do whatever they want to do, and you get really nice results out of them. But if you can have a go at learning to wire, it would be very, very important. Dave?
Alright, so I've just put some 6mm wire. So it's 6mm wire, so it's fairly heavy. I've wired the main branch, that cascading branch, and the trunk. So you can see I've wired them. Now the trick with this is, okay, so that's the front, that'll be ultimately the front. So, I don't know if Andrew can zoom, sorry. But the end of that wire, see that the tip is pointing at you? The tip goes underneath and it's pointing at you. So if I want to bend the wire that way, it's pointing, so I want to bend the branch towards you guys. So that's why that cut wire is pointing at you guys. Does that make sense? So if it comes underneath and it points at you, that's the direction I'm going to bend. So that's the direction I wire the tree. I've also made sure that I'm wiring that. This point, where's this pointing at you? At you guys again. So I'm making sure that when I wire it, the wire direction is going to naturally force the tree that way. Does that make sense? So I'm not fighting against the wire and the branch in the way it moves. So that's the main bit wired. That's the main trunk's wired. So that's good. Now I'm just going to try and bend it with a bit of force, see if it holds. I think it will. I think it's going to be okay. Just looking for making sure it doesn't tear, making sure the trunk doesn't tear, making sure that the bark doesn't tear. So just keep an eye out. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do now.
David, you know how you were talking about maybe turning that other branch into a really crazy bend and twist, but you went gin for this.
Yeah.
If you were going to do all of the craziness to it, what would you do? What would that process be?
It would just be put a wire on it and just put the wire really close together in terms of the spacing between the wire, and then just manipulate with my hand and bend and twist it into an unusual shape. I do that quite a bit with my Shimpaku, and I video it, so it's on YouTube. But I do that all the time, because in 6 months to a year time, that twisted up branch will become nice, it will be fattened up, and it actually will fit that shape. Then you can actually go gin it if you want and get rid of it, but then you've got a really nice, kooky, crazy looking deadwood, which looks really cool. Or you can make a tree out of it as well.
So you wouldn't go into trouble of wetting raffia or anything?
No, not at all. Not for this stuff. I mean, raffia you need if you're going to do some, I reckon you need raffia if you're going to do some decent sized trunks, to be honest. I've done that with black pines where I even hollow out the middle bit, hollow out the deadwood. You put some wire in between, and then you raffia it. There's all these different techniques, but that's where you want to talk about raffia, when you're doing really big, heavy branches. For black pines, I do that, raffia, usually black pine. For Shimpaku, I just find I can just do it. Even black pines, when they're young enough, you can put massive bends and twists in them without any raffia at all. You just have to keep the wire pretty much, if you're going to use aluminium, if you're going to do, you know, those kind of crazy kind of twists and stuff, have the same size aluminium to so the trunk you're going to do, I find. It actually, and we'll put the wire pretty close, it actually naturally acts like graphene then. It's all nice and close and tight. And when you start bending it, you can just make crazy shapes and the trunk never splits. So that's the thing, the trunk will never split. It just takes practice. I mean, Hans, the magician at it, he's the master at it. But I learned from him, and it's very easy once you get the hang of it to do that kind of work.
I want to share some tips I picked up along the way. Once your tree is wired and you're trying to manipulate the branches just so, these pliers are relatively useless. If you want a really good purchase on your wire, use your wire cutters, but don't cut the wire. Just use it to pinch into the wire, and it'll start to cut, and then you have a really good purchase on your wire, and you can make some very incredibly precise bends by using the sharp part of your wire cutters. Another thing is when you're going down a wire size, so I want to wire this little branch here now. When I wire, maybe wait until they come back to me again, but I want to actually cross the very end of this wire to hook on the branch to this wire connection. And hopefully I'll get a close-up next time around once I'm done, but I'll show you what I mean later on.
Meaning, so like that tree, symbol like this, that one. So when you cut on you remove on the top on the bottom, so symbol like that. And now when you see something like that, you see that when all is empty. Look really empty. If you remove all this one, look really empty. So what you need to do and how you make the tree, and we don't need to wait for longer. And then they become good. Something like that, you just wiring on here. Little bit closer. So we go on the way we training, that way we need more sharp bending. Other way, if you wiring like 80% the bonsai finish, for display something like that, that's a big difference. But I just do some here. So now you can see that when look on that side look very narrow. So now you now I bring the branch, make more bigger and more compact. So what you need to do, just like that, just bend like that, and going like that. So now we need the branch is a little bit more thicker on the side, and look more full. Otherwise, sometimes the branch you cut too much, and then later on look empty. There.
Thanks. So quite often when these trees are grown together over 10 years, did you say they were about 10 years old?
About 8,
Yeah.
17.
So a lot of branches will thicken fast, and sometimes they all grow around the same point. So you've got to try to change the height of the branches. So what I've done is, and in particular, I was losing my front all the time, so I've just identified the front right there. So these two branches here, when this trunk was straight, they come out at the same point. So what I've done is when I've bent it over, I've been able to bring this branch down and this branch actually up a little bit. So it gives you an idea of having a left and a right branch, but not coming out at the same point. So I've left a couple of lower branches to give me the bottom branches, a back branch, and this was relatively close to the other two as well. The top, because this was a branch before, these shoots aren't very long, so they're the ones that actually need to grow to probably twice as long, so they can come out here, and all this top actually needs to develop to give me a proper triangle. But my point was these two branches were really close together, and you need to change that up because you don't want what we call bar branches, where the branches come out at the same point.
Yeah, I'm just wiring, guys. Just wiring now.
And that's what I've got to do. I've got to go through and select some of these little shoots without taking too much off. There are little branches that are just never going to be used, but I can actually fill some of these these areas by just wiring these branches down. So now I don't want to take too many shoots off, and one of the best things is to do is just leave it until you're certain, because you can take it off, but you can't put it back. And the guys have already gone through and ginned their branches already, so I'm going to gin these up as well once I've got my branch placement.
I'm just wiring, guys, so we just jumped in whenever we want to say something like that.
I wanted to say something earlier. Someone was saying something about heavy wire, hard to bend, and yeah, I learned how to bend heavy wire drinking beer with Tiger's apprentice one night. He was explaining it's actually quite easy. I don't need to fight the wire. Just use leverage and hold the wire very far back, and it becomes incredibly pliable. Even that big number 8 and number 6 we'll use it on raw material, and that's like 6mm copper wire. It became very easy to manipulate heavy wire just by holding it further back. So always try and hold your wire back here. It becomes very, very soft. I just forgot to say that in my last turn. Can we go to this section here? Can we zoom in here? I've got my primary wire holding this branch down, and then my secondary wire, which is wired these two branches together, has crossed this wire, and now these are very stable, even aluminium is stable. So by crossing that wire, everything's being held together, and you won't have any branches flipping around or anything like that. So make sure that you're locking your wires off, as I sort of coined it myself, I guess. But yeah, make sure you do that when you're wiring, so you get a very firm hold on your branches.
Now I just work on that one. You go this way. And I try to work on the other side on this big brand. You go on the other side and work on the top. And maybe I will go on that one. But sometimes when we work on there, we need to think before we remove on that brand. Sometimes on the main trunk, that's very thick, but the brand is too skinny. So that way, sometimes if I work it here, it might be the brand too skinny, not enough. I can make this one, I can use for this one, to bending just around to make the brand here, something like that. So when I shoot here, we need, and then we got the brand on that side. So sometimes we need to cut, but oh, this one too skinny like that. That way we can widen it. That way, I'm thinking this one to bending to make this one go on the other side. Eric?
I'm just still doing a little bit of wiring, but what come to mind was I was at Hans Nursery the other day, and I saw some of these trees here that we're working on, and Hans got a few left. People that weren't sure whether or not to do a workshop with Bjorn, this is the absolute perfect material for him, because I've seen some of the trees that he's designed out of this stock, and as much as what these three guys will turn out really nice trees today, Bjorn will just take it to the next level. So if you wanted a really nice tree and you wanted to learn how to design a really nice tree, a session with Bjorn would be just would be fantastic. And people don't need to worry about having experience wiring, because there will be experienced members around to help. But Bjorn's just the absolute gentleman. He just he'll do most of the work for you if you're not unsure, if you're a little bit unsure about doing the work. So I would absolutely consider doing a workshop with one of these trees. And you only had half a dozen of these left that you were going to sell. Is that right?
Yeah, but should be in July.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you had some more trees in that would have been ready for July.
Yeah.
So it's well worth talking to him after this to see what's actually available, and then giving the club a call or send me an email through the club and see if there's any spaces available.
Bring some for sale at our next meeting.
Would you be able to bring a couple in and put up for sale?
I ain't got any left.
Or, well, there's only that's what I'm saying, there's only a few left, so at the April meeting.
Yeah, I can do it like this.
But I just think it's just a fantastic thing. Even pure beginners will get something out of it. They'll have help, and they'll just see how a tree can be styled. And if you don't want to, please come along as an observer, because it's you'll learn so much just watching what Bjorn does as well. Is that right, David? I know that people will say after Bjorn's been here, I wish I did it. We get sick of hearing people say it, because it just happens all the time. So just try not to miss out. How's that show roster going? Who's got the copy? Oh, Pete, thanks, Mark. Is it looking full, Pete?
Yeah, a spot or two.
Looking better? Thank you, everyone.
Now one thing, even though we're on stage here, we've got an hour and a half to do these trees. At home, these will take 3 to 4 hours to do, so don't rush. It's not about how fast you work, it's just get it right. Take your time. We're just doing this quickly because we have to do it quickly. You can't sit here for 3 or 4 hours watching us do this. But yeah, 3 to 4 hours to do a tree like this is probably more normal than 1 to 1.5, okay? So don't be overwhelmed by, look how fast they did that, look how quick they did that. Takes that extra time, okay? So don't rush it like us. We need to produce a result for you guys. So The other thing I did mention is, I don't know, I think we all did the same thing, but we always start at the bottom of the tree and work our way up when we start wiring. Very important. We always do the lower branches first. One of the main things is, if you start well up here, you keep knocking that out of the way when you're trying to do lower branches, that's one thing. But also you set the foundation with the lower branch. Once you set the lower branch, everything else will really come together really well. So that's one thing I tend to normally do. Always start with the bottom branches.
Just to add to that, with conifers, you're typically wiring everything down. And so if you start with the bottom branch, you create room for the next branch up to come down onto. So, and you could probably consider the opposite if you're talking about sort of some of the maples that are usually going up, or our natives typically wire straight up, but up and out. You probably want to work from apex in that situation, so that you've given yourself room for the next branch in mind.
Now I just turn on the brain here, you go there, see it looks a bit different. Now I just work in here. And one more thing, when the tree we do on grinding, don't have to work on the zinc first, just leave it there. We can do a little bit. Because sometimes we need to hook a wire to hold the wire for wiring. Otherwise, the wire goes too much in the one trunk, it's good. That way we do the zinc, we leave it later on the way we drain it.
Thanks. I'm still doing wiring up these little branches around the top, and I'm trying to leave as many as possible to give myself as many options as possible later on. If I happen to wire a little branch and it breaks, which is easy enough to do, I want to have a plan B and a plan C. And in particular, there's no harm leaving as much foliage on the tree as possible now, because you've got next year to go through and do the redesign on this little guy, because once some of these branches thicken and start to grow, I might actually remove 3 or 4 of these little branches. So nothing's set in stone yet, but I just want to get it as low as possible.
Barry, you said when you took off so much foliage that you go and you give it a rest to recover. Can you tell us a little bit more about the recovery process, what's necessary?
I think we're stressing the trees a fair bit, taking this much foliage off. So one of the things that I wouldn't do for the 12 months is to repot it either. I'd like to keep it in this soil for another 12 months. A full growing season, so it'll be, we're late spring or after, or maybe even a full 12 months I would leave and let grow. It'll just send out more foliage and regain a lot of its vigour. I think if we went through and repotted it now, you probably wouldn't kill it, but you would set it back quite a bit. To let it grow as well is to help thicken up these little branches, to go through and select branches, your final branches later on as well. Because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's a dozen branches in probably 4 or 5 inches of tree. Out of that dozen, I might only keep 5. But I'm not going to take any of them off yet, because I don't know which ones are going to be the best. If I lose a branch, because if I put too much stress on the branch and I might have put a little split there, I don't know. If I think out of these 2 branches, I might take this one off and I go and split this and I break it. Well, then I'm pretty much shot. So it's there to fill up the tree at the moment and to leave as much foliage on as possible, but it's also there as a little bit of security for myself in case I need to go to the next branch. Did I explain that? Sorry, I'm talking and I'm looking at the tree and thinking, and then I'm thinking, did I answer that properly?
Harry, see how you got the tree chopped up? When you take it home and put it on your bench, did you have it at that angle? Or doesn't matter?
I personally wouldn't, because I want to make sure that the water's running through the tree properly. But what I'd do is I'd probably get a white marker and I'd a paint pen. If I had my if I knew that this was going to be the angle of the tree and I want to put it back to work on later on, or to take the wire off and rewire it, you don't have to be this fussy, but some people could. They might get a little spirit level and draw a line down there and say that's level. So they always know that when you take your chocks out, when you want to bring it back again, you just bring that line back to level, and there's the angle that you always wanted to work with. I think the wise old man showed you that once. Where is he? I won't say his name. But that's a clever way of doing it. It's just sometimes people just put a chopstick in and put it on the angle that 90 degrees is at, whether it's falling back or left or right. So they know that if the chocks fall out or they take it home, they can quickly put it back, and they know that they know the angle that they want it and then what they want to work with.
Alternatively, you can put 2 pins in, which when lined up will show you your front. And also, if you really want to get technical, you can make the 2 of them line up so that when they're all even, that's the front and the level. But not quite as permanent as a marker on the pot.
So, anyone want to get a plug pipe so I can bring for that meeting? All the event training. So the tree is very short and very fat drum like berry.
Like my tree or
Big fat like that. Around 40 years old, drum big like that high. So we got all different size, short, bending, straight up, all different size. If everyone want to get the plug pipe for beyond workshop, just let Barry know, or David. So we can bring a couple. And some small plug pipe like this. The trunk big like that. Only 18 years old, the trunk like that. So that high. So if everyone want to get something like that, because all the three are the training already. So just really go for a workshop for beyond, and easy to finish the job. Harry?
Okay. I still still wiring, and I just want to gin those two little branches, but Yoss just give me some chalk, so that's just the general idea. I use a paint pen because the rain's going to wash off the chalk, but I use it regularly at home if I've been playing around with a tree. It's just good to it's just to mark where you were thinking about your planted angle.
Alright, so where I'm up to now, so I think the front is in there somewhere for you guys to look at. So you can see I've kind of wide out the lower pad. Now what I want to try and do, I'll tweak it later, I want to create different levels. So I'm going to have this level here as probably the lowest level. Then I've got one at the back here which will be slightly a bit higher. And then one at the front here which will be another level as well. So I don't want everything in one big massive pad. I want a lower one, and then one slightly above it, and then one slightly above it here. So you want to create, you never want to create one just big, huge pad. You want to create different levels so it looks more realistic and more natural looking, like in the environment. Like it's, you know, parts of it have grown out here, and a little bit higher, a little bit higher. So never go for one big pad. Go try and find the different levels in the pads. And that's what I'm going to be working on with that later. I'm just starting to wire this side out, and then I'm going to finish off with the top. It's pretty stock standard. It's looking good. Yeah, I think you can see some of that development now. And what you can probably see is also is underneath. I'm cleaning up, so it's very clean lines underneath the branching. Trying to get anything that grows down, take that off. So it's all nice and clean. When you look at the tree, it looks nice and clean at the bottom. Okay, so that's all I'm just looking at now. Wiring this section and working my way up the top, and then I'll address the apex and how that's going to look. So it shouldn't be too much of that, but ask questions if you want.
I can see you put some wire on that tube.
Oh yeah, I did too, sorry. Good one. So I did actually wire the jig. Because it was going straight up, I didn't like it. So I wired it to actually bend it in that direction. I might use it, might not, I'll leave it in there for now. So you can do it, and you can. Remember it was a bit straighter, and now I've just bent it a bit more on an angle that way. Because it looked terrible when it was straight up. I wanted to go in the direction of the tree. I could try and push that a bit more.
I've got way too many branches at the top, but as I said before, I'm just going to leave them because you just, it's just good practice to do it because you don't know what your future design is going to be once this tree starts to fill out. I look a little bit awkward around the top, but I don't really care because it's not about the design today, it's about the design in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. I'm just trying to put some tight little curves in these little branches as well, because if your trunk's got all the curves and bends and it looks like it's had a hard life, then the branches shouldn't be straight and coming out. And they should be looking as distressed as the rest of the tree, or wind blown.
I'm just looking now, guys, at where I want the tree, how I want the tree to finish up, and what the apex looks like. Now, I've got this big massive foliage here. What you can do when you're styling trees is get a piece of cloth or something like that and cover a branch. So if I cover that up there, then I can see, oh, that could be my new apex with all these little sub branches that I could wire and create a new tree. If I leave that, it's too much going in that direction. doesn't need it. So if I cover it, you can actually start to see, oh yeah, we just put wire these branches, and then that's good enough, and that will look good as an apex. So there you go. So if you see that's too much there, cover it up with a sheet or something like that, and there you go. That's what you can do. So I'm just going to work to that, and hopefully it will look good.
But David, what about if you thin it out? Wouldn't you try to thin it out first and see what happens?
Yeah, I could,
Yeah.
but I think it's easier because I know that's just too much. It's too much going in this direction. I don't want to do that. I want to just have something in here. I think it's more. Yeah, to the point you can do it. But I think pink detail. But you'll know what I mean. It's a good technique to do. Yeah, I'll show you what I'm saying. Cover too much. Yeah.
I guess that if you cut
could.
it off, then you leave too much of a gap.
No, because then you wire everything down.
Oh, I see, yeah.
I would then wire the small ones and you feel like that big. It's because of the branches so heavy out here. I could put a gin in there as well if I wanted to, which I might. But it's about using the finer foliage at the top. You don't want really heavy stuff. Thanks. Anyone else want to do detail? It's pretty cool.
So you're not going to cut it off now though, David?
I'll probably gin it. I'm thinking I might try and gin it and see what it looks like. There's not enough, actually, I just looked, there's not enough there's not enough meat, I should say, in the trunk for a gin there. I think I might just have to end it there. I will try, but I don't think it will work. Now, if you haven't got any questions, at this stage, I think we're just wiring. Is that right, everyone? Everyone on stage, is that right? We're just wiring at the moment and cleaning up. What we usually do now is we give you guys a break, grab a coffee, biscuits, wire up, oh yeah, good. Took the words out of my mouth. As always, I'm the slowest. That's all right. All right, everyone, listen up. So, I think some of you picked up your envelopes. Did everyone pick up your envelopes? Yeah. Anyway, guys, you can see Patrick over there, grabbing the envelope, memberships. You need to be a member to get those envelopes. That's all right, thanks. Thanks, Alex, that's sort of and lovely Stella brought in some scarlet. Where's the scarlet ashes? Scarlet ashes, you can pick up a freebie. It's a nice little scarlet ash tree. They've got bits and all, so grab one if you want, just down here in the front. Freebie. Alright, who's finished? Barry, the finish? We'll go first.
Alright. Firstly, who's going to Geelong Bonsai? Thank you, Tom. Bonsai Society Victoria. Don't go away, Tom. Waverley. Anyone here from Waverley? Thanks. Oh, actually, Stewie's here, so Stewie can take it. Mornington? Does anyone go to Mornington? Okay. Thanks, man. Thank you. All right, sorry about that. I just had everyone's attention, so I don't want to listen to me after I was finished. Okay, so the wire was my front. The tree needs a lot of development. Because I haven't worked out the angles of these two branches yet. They're just in a place where I think I'm going to be just happy with at the moment, because I just want this tree to grow. The direction of the tree was that way, so the longest branches are on this side. I need to shorten this off a little bit, but I'm just leaving it. There's 4 branches, 4 little shoots in here, which will become ultimately two branches. I'll remove one or I removed two at some stage. In fact, there's probably 6 little shoots here. It's just undecided what I actually want. And I think also there's a couple of little shoots here that I've actually wired, but they're bar branches. Again, I'm not going to make the decision on what I want to take off now. That'll be a decision for 12 months or 2 years. I just don't care. There's a lot of shoots that I would normally trim underneath to keep it a nice flat base, but I think I don't want to take too much off. My preference would be for a lot of it to actually do the secondary wiring and actually wire them out rather than remove them just because they're hanging down. If I can wire them out, it'll just fill out that branch pad a lot quicker, and that's what we should look to do. But I just wasn't going to fiddle around with 1 and 1.5mm wire tonight, but just to give you an idea where these are hanging down and ugly, if I can bring them up, I certainly would rather than chop them. So the idea is to get a triangle that is around that angle there. So these 2 little shoots and an apex needs to form, and these little shoots here will become branches and fill in this space. So today this is the front, but as it all develops, so does the tree shape and angle. So I might turn the tree left or right and move these 2 branches around a little bit. But for now, it gives me the basic triangle and a basic shape. I've only stripped the bark off these gins. Ultimately, I think this would be a little bit shorter, but I've left it longer because it's given a perspective of filling out in the back. So because it's really bare around here, I've really got to wait for some of these little shoots to pop out. But I'd be happy to put this tree in the collection, put it in some, if we're going to get any warm days, I'd just put it in a shady spot for a week or 2, give it some sol now, and then in a couple of weeks' time start pumping it with all your normal fertilisers. I would use Power Feed, I would use Charlie Carp, I'd hit it with everything to get it all growing. And I think my team that these things will grow through winter as well. I wouldn't be fertilising too much through winter, but coming into spring again, feed, and just start to pinch and cut back as the exterior of the foliage starts to grow. I'll be encouraging all the inside shoots and keeping as small a canopy as I can to keep the tree small.
So the tree, like today, I just work as something like that, but we need more time because when on the top too skinny, that way we need more time to build up on the top more compact, something like that. And some grain here, too skinny, and this one a little bit missing on the top. Usually we go on this one. And some here, too skinny, that way I'm not climbing, so that tree might be already like this. You need to, you can put in a bonsai pot straight away now, but the problem is how much you trim and root. So some tree like that, I think I already talking about when I did the rotation from BS3, from Q. When you do the tree, how much you take the soil up, how much you have to trimming all in the roots. So that's the problem. So don't watch it in the YouTube. The people trim too much the roots, but you don't know when they trim it, the winter, springtime, autumn, or the summer. We need to know something about that. So usually the conifer, it's not a lot of roots. That way, this one, for me, I can straight away to put in the bonsai pot I sell. But the more you keep the roots, the more they build on the top, very flat. And if you trimming the roots too much, like I saw some people, they take the tree up, that way, that boom, 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 then straight away put in the bonsai pot. That's not allowed in Melbourne. Because the weather in Melbourne is changing all the time. Like yesterday 21, July 18. The weather is changing too much like this, they've been shot. And then see you in Arab. That's all.
How high is it grow?
Right?
How tall is it grow?
If untrimmed,
Pardon?
if it was untrimmed, his hand would keep it to about that height. He would keeping it to about that size.
Yeah, I tried to get the best result out of it as I could. I got these three sort of trunks, branches that form the main carcass of the tree, or the main body of the tree, and then three gins as well, so I think it sort of applies to all of the superstitious rules and everything like that. So I didn't go any more detail because I didn't have any small wire to go any more detail than this, but I would have if I had the wire. I had a very important and interesting question asked to me while it was on break. When to take off the wire? We in Australia are really adverse to biting in and scarring on bonsai, and that's absolutely right on deciduous trees, because in the middle of winter you can see all those scars. However, on conifers, first of all, you can't see it, and second of all, you need it to bite in to make sure that you know your branches have set. When I was walking around with my master in Japan, I asked him, can I wire this tree? And he said, no bites, can't do it. So you have to wait until you've got quite a lot of biting in before you can de-wire and wire again. So that's how you know that your branches have set. And even then, you might find that even with scarring, you go and cut the branch and you might see a bit of movement, a bit of bounce back, a bit of flex. And you'll know that you'll have to wire that branch again. However, maybe that time you've got a wire, so it's a bit more beautiful. But you don't need to worry about scarring on all your conifers, because your foliage is going to hide that in a few years' time when it all flushes out. Even black pines, you do your summer decandling, and you've got twice as many buds every year. So yeah, it'll camouflage very quickly. So you must see some biting in before you even think about cutting your wire. So yeah, that was someone's question. I hope that answered I hope I answered that question for you, and I hope I made that a bit more clear. So that's when you know the cambium is set in that shape, and quite a lot of the time it's only to a degree, and you'll have to go back and rewire. But hopefully every generation of wire you do will come further and further out and less structural and more refined, until you've just got some very tips to wire, and you don't need to wire your trees that much, but that's 20 years down the track. So, yeah. Yes?
With the amount you've taken off that tree, is there any danger of throwing juvenile foliage?
There's a chance, and there's always going to be that chance, and I would just fertilise, well, it needs water desperately, but then I would fertilise with cow feed, and I wouldn't give it any sort of harsh afternoon, midday sun, but there's a chance, and you've got to take that risk sometimes to get the structure. But if you don't touch your juvenile foliage, do not touch your juvenile foliage, and it'll only take a year to grow out. The next season, you'll get mature foliage coming at the end of that juvenile foliage, so wait until you're back into mature foliage for that. For anyone that doesn't know what juvenile foliage is, it's very prickly foliage. It looks like rigida or procumbens coming out of the end of your Shimpaku. It's relatively ugly. It's a byproduct. Oh, there's some there. That's juvenile foliage. It looks quite different. I know it's kind of tiny, but yeah, it's a response to animals eating these trees on the block. So, yep. I hope that answers your question. I would not repot this tree for 18 months to 2 years. Just let it grow out, let it grow to the point where you can't even tell it's a bonsai anymore. It just looks like a shrub, and then you go back and you do the same work again. You do a final wiring, and that'll also that heavy growth will help that cambium expand and set in that shape, and then you're free to do your next generation of wiring, and every year that gets the periods between them hopefully get longer, so you're not wiring your tree all the time. And becomes less and less invasive or less stressful to your tree, and it just becomes more and more refined. And then you can start thinking about what bonsai type to use.
If you were going to repot that and you had to take a lot of the roots off to get it into a smaller pot, when would you do that?
September. Yeah, middle of September when you start taking your jump during the day, it starts warming up a bit. And just like Han said, I wanted to add something to that. You don't just clip the roots, like flat bottom it like that. Rake your roots out completely. It's completely safe to 100% change the soil on your junipers. I wash mine in bath because I don't want any pine bark mixture I use up in, so I completely wash my roots, rake them out. Take off large roots, but make sure there's fibrous roots up above your cut or closer to your trunk. So you're leaving fibrous roots on there for the tree to use because they're the only ones that really suck up the water. So rake your roots, find like interior, it's like inner buds. You find inner fine roots. You cut back to those and haunch your soil in between them very carefully when you repot. You should be okay. Yeah. There's no arterial roots. Don't cut your arterial roots off. But yeah. David? Awesome.
Alright, so you saw how I took that top off. Hopefully it looks like a much better tree now. I did create a little gin up here. But you probably see in this tree there's lots of nice little gins around. And it's kind of alright. It's a nice little semi-cascade kind of look. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. I have an issue with this back branch here, but it's a bit big and you can see how far out it goes. But if I cut that off, you could. There isn't much in that spot there to create any depth, so that's probably one of the only major issues. I've cut back everything to very small and fine foliage. There's not really much else to tell you, I think I talked the most during the demo, so I pretty much don't have to talk much now. But you probably can see just creating the pads on level there, one a bit high here, trying to create one in there, just to give you different levels. These will just fill out. So they're quite small at the moment, but this one will create a nice little bit of a pad in here, one in the back here, and you just start to build the tree up again. Any questions? Really, that's about all I had. Yep.
David, how do you promote growth back into the trunk? Sometimes you've got
Lots of feeding, usually lots of feeding, lots of light. Now light will get in there. I think that's probably the best answer. Feeding and light. Now that it's been cleaned up, it should just, I find it explodes within a growth now, in a buzz.
Okay.
So it just takes time.
Shimpaku's back right there.
David, is this the one that we used to pluck and now we've got to cut it?
Yeah, the plucking used to get the tips and twist them off or something like that, which is not the right thing to do.
Now we've got to
Not to do that, it's cut off the tip. But I pinch underneath, so I'm not pinching, but I'm pulling off the branches actually. When you see me doing that, I'm pinching off the branches underneath. I don't go and twist the top off the top, which was, I think it was a translation issue. when the Japanese told the Australians pinch, but it's not really pinching or something like that. Can't even explain it, but a long time ago. Any questions? Yep.
When you say feed, is that weekly or monthly or
No, it
second
depends.
week?
Everyone's got different preferences. I feed when I remember. But I don't know how anyone else does it. Probably these guys are a bit more, Han and Matt probably have much more scheduled for their nurseries. But
When the month name changes, I feed.
there we go.
First of every month.
Once a month.
Yeah.
Han, how often do you feed? Depends on the trees, right?
Depend on the tree. So if the tree unwired, that's a different story. The tree you're wiring, when you start wiring, just something like that. No fertilizer at all around 3 months. At least when you unwire. Otherwise, when you're wiring like this, like they already stuck from the water on the bottom, the supply go at the top. They already been stuck. And sometimes when you put fertilizer now, and later on, they're easy to burn because they can't suck any of the water on the top because the wire have been stuck. Usually, when I'm wiring like that, about 3 months later, then I wire it. When I see they shoot it back there, that means the tree healthy, and then I fertilize. That's a different story. So, you can use for the Nutricot longer, last 1 year. That's the best way. So the Nutricot, they can survive about the weather, about 35 degrees. No problem at all. Don't use for black and bone, something like that. Because black and bone, when you fertilize, they're really, really hot. And the weather, when they're changing, that they kill. So Nutricot, I use a Nutricot for release 1 year. And of course, I fertilize Uppercut only 6 months, but start June. And Nutricot you can fertilize anytime you want. That's how I do it.
Do you mix that in with your soil, or do you just sprinkle it on top?
I just put around on the side of the pot. So, the Shimpaku sometimes little different.
The Nutricot. Is that Nutricot?
They like more Nutricot and some I make Nutricot and Uppercut. But when you want to more fat grow, always they get wet. Really wet. And you need a tray on the bottom here, the water go up here. And then you fertilize. When you water, it's not one time. So, not the way you water like this and then you go away. Not like that. You water here, when I water, I go around, and then I back to water again. So, when I see the tray is full, then okay. So, something like that, you can water 2 days a month. Or in the winter, I can do about 1 week. Once a week. So other way, because not the way when you roll for the bonsai, not the way you use for bigger pot. You think they are the bigger pot to roll very fast, not the way like that. Because the tree on the center here, the bigger pot there, and when you water, they just run away. All the water, they run away. They not come back, go in the center of the tree. So that's a big problem. A lot of people, they say, oh, I use bigger pot, then I grow very fast. No, not like that. I think Barry, you already see my Shimpaku, only 5 years. How big a trunk? Only 5 years. So small pot, not a bigger pot. And sometimes, you water, you don't know, and you fertilize in there, and then you don't know how to water, and then after, the fertilizer go in the center, but the water away. That way, they don't suck it up. They kill the tree. So, new tree got for a whole year. Survive the weather, 35 degrees. Uppercut, 6 month release, only 25. But the problem is, a lot of people, they go to one side, they don't know how to water, how to fertilize. So, the instruction, they got in the content. A lot of people, they don't know. This one, they call 6 in 4. How many teaspoons we need to yield? Don't know. Alright? A lot of people, they put in hand like this, they put it there, drop water. Hey, my tree is barbecue. Not the way like that. 6 in 4, we need 6 teaspoons. Only 6 teaspoons. 4 in 4, 4 teaspoons. We need to know something about that. Otherwise, some people, they just use this. I just show one in my paracanta. So the guy, I tell him, he didn't listen. He said, why is it not bearing? Something like that, no flower, everything, He said, hey, you just put inside the house. I told you, and he said, oh, I read from Google, everybody said bonsai indoor. What that means indoor? So, can everyone tell me what that means indoor for bonsai? All right. Indoor, that means they got 2 different ones. Indoor, that means in the greenhouse. You can use for bonsai in the greenhouse. It's not indoor for inside the house. That's the big problem. And then they read something in the Google and they buy black and bone, they put it there, and they say, oh, my bonsai. They burn, they kill. That's all.
Very quickly, just for my fertilising through the growing season, which I will say is when the weather starts to warm up in spring, not in summer when it's hot, and in autumn when it's still warm, but we're not getting the extra cold days. I'll fertilise weekly. And full strength, they say on the packet, half strength, but I have no problems, but I use a lot of soluble. I use sea salt when I've just repotted the power feed, and I'll mix it up with Charlie Carr. And there's another soluble, Miracle Grow, something like that I'll use for some of the things that flower, the azaleas. So I'm happy to use full strength weekly, and I keep the water up to it without being soaking wet. You don't want to keep any of your trees soaking wet all the time. And I get good results, and like Dave said, when I remember, but I try to do it over Christmas when it's hot. I tend to forget, but it's when it's really hot weather anyhow, so I back right off.
All right. So you can see, as I said, 4 similar trees to start with, 4 different trees. The result. Now, I wasn't we'll do it. Does anyone want to buy these trees? So we usually auction them. So I'm not sure the crowd's big enough, but we'll see how we go. We do have a reserve on all the trees, is what we paid for them, pretty much. So we need to start at that, and anything above that, it'll be yours. How does that sound? Everyone keen? Anyone want to buy one? A tree? Put your hand up if you want to buy a tree. If there's not enough hands, we're not going to do it. All right, come on, guys. There you go. Don't be shy. That's it. All right, let's go. Who started? Who's going to do this? Where's Glenn? Oh, man. All right, let's go. Let's go. Who wants? I think everyone wants Hunt. No, leave Hunt to last. Let's go, Barry. Barry Street. There we go. We've got to start with the reserve, so that's all I can do, because otherwise we're not going to sell it. So we paid for these, you'll know what we paid for them, and you know what they're worth. So we need to start at
$100.
No, it's a bit more than that, 10.
That's my bid.
Oh, all right. So
$5.
5, he said $100.
I think it went to 105.
All right, so it's at 130. So 130 is the reserve. Okay, so who wants to give 130? $130 on this. Thank you. There you go. First bid, 130. Anything above 130. 135, 140. Anywhere. Come on, guys. Put your hands up at 130. Could be Patrick's pretty easily. Come on, guys. Where's those hands? 130. You're gonna have for $5 more. Anywhere. 135, 135. Andrew, you got any hand, Andrew? Who else is out? Who else is there ready to bid? I think it's going once. Going twice. Any hands? Come on, guys. Where are they? Oh, Salt Factory first try. What are you doing? All right, Hans, let's go. Again, you know the reserve. Can't sell for less. So at 130, do I see any bids? If it's 130 for Hans. 130, Sally, first bid. 130 for Sally, anywhere. $10 more, 140. 140, 150. With Sammy, 150 with Sammy. Anyone want to increase on 150? 160. 160 over here. Anywhere else? 160. Going quickly. 165, Sally. 170, back. 170 with you guys. Going once. You guys 170.
Oh, no.
170 with you guys. Anywhere else? 170 going once. Going twice. Sold. Congratulations. Well done. Alright, let's go, Matt. Beautiful little mini. At 130, you know the reserve. Let's start. 130 with Sammy. That's easy, nice and quick. Anywhere else? 130, 140. Do I see 140 anywhere? Come on, guys. 130 is going to be sold. 130, 140. Good. Brand new guy, first day off the street, comes in, going to buy a tree for his girlfriend. That's not good on you, mate. Oh, no, back at you. 140, 150. 150 back at you. Sorry, almost. At 150 with Sammy. You coming back for $5? Yeah. 155. There you go. 155, Sammy. You going to go for a bid? The new guy's going to beat you. At 155, going once. Going twice. Oh, where did you come from? The doctor, 160? 160? Oh, 160, sorry, mate, I was trying for it. 160 at the back there, you want to go again? Yeah. 165, back at you, Doc. Anywhere else? Going once, 165, going twice. Sold, well done, first day. Alright, 130, anywhere from my tree, come on, where's the 130? Hey, well done, hello, you're my best friend now. Oh, 130 over here, anywhere else? At 130, anywhere, 140, do I see 140 anywhere? 140, anywhere else? 150, anywhere else? 150 back with? 160, oh, 160 is coming at ya. 170, anywhere else? 170, 170 big. 180, hey, 180, 190, 190, oh, very good. At 190, you're coming back to 2? That 200 there, come on, anywhere else? 200, good. Yeah, he's got 200. At $200, going once, going twice.